Welcome back to the China Dota 2 Supermajor Day 2 of the group stages, also the last day of the group stages. We have Group D here on the main stream. We've got Group C playing on a different stream. It's madness. There's so many games, you don't know where to look, but don't worry, stay here and we got you covered because Group D is the most exciting group. At least that's what we like to think because we're covering that. And we chose that one as well. So, you know, you're good. All right, so we already had the first matchup. Of all four teams have already played one matchup, and it's time for the winners bracket finals of Group D, which is LGD taking on Optic Gaming. We had a little bit of a switch up on the panel. We are joined now by Black alongside Nahaz and Gods. Welcome, Black. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Just had to make a little run here, you know, because of me being a bit sleepy downstairs, but made it just in time.
Poor work ethic. Come on, Black.
Managed to recover.
You still sore from basketball the other night, buddy?
Dude, I actually tried to run here and it hurt like hell. I was like, oh no, I'm late.
I see Black yesterday, and he's like limping up the stairs, clutching the railing. I'm going, what? I'm the old guy here. Come on.
People called me undying yesterday.
Yep. And just to be sure, there's stairs every time you go from green room to panel. And we can't really watch the game here. So we're watching. It was a lot of stairs walking for you, Black.
A lot of limping.
It's okay, I'm getting better. Yeah? Steadily and slowly.
I mean, I'm sure there's an elevator somewhere in the building. Maybe it's worth it to walk around.
I'll ask later.
All right, so LGD and Optic Gaming. Let's start with LGD. The favorites, at least in this group, the favorites to be able to beat Virtus.pro, which is the big question, of course. Coming into this, do they look as strong? We've only seen them against Infamous, and I'm not sure how much of a test that was, Nahaz.
Yeah, I mean, LGD, though, are just on fire the last couple months. And the one thing that they're missing to call them clear favorites for TI, first of all, VP is obviously also very good. Sure. But unlike a team like VP or Liquid, LGD hasn't really been figured out and had to come back and adjust. But you saw a little bit of that at MDL, where they looked a little vulnerable early, and then I believe they won 10 straight maps to close out the tournament. They're getting to the point where, yeah, you label them that juggernaut.
All right, so because they won MDL, they came second at DAC.
Yeah.
They won Epicenter too.
They won Epicenter as well.
3 majors in a row, 2 first places, 1 second. That definitely speaks to great form right now.
So everybody's been talking about how you copy Virtus.pro and how you do that and do better, perhaps. We haven't seen a lot of people copying LGD. It's mostly all
I think you have.
You have?
So I think a lot of teams are watching replays for how LGD locks down that safe lane. Like X-Nova, when you talk about LGD, X-Nova is a guy that a lot of players early in the season were like, what's this guy doing on LGD? He's like the worst player. And even you watch him, and he'll make mistakes during team fights, but his laning phase, safe lane support play is brilliant. He takes so much attention away from Ame. Ame basically just hits creeps for the first 12 minutes of the game.
But you say they try to copy them, right? But nobody can really do it because even though they pick like similar kind of heroes and everything, they can't really make it work like them. Yeah.
There's some teams are starting. I think a lot of teams are watching replays of how they play the specific lanes, like the Gyro ET safe lane, and they're starting to copy elements. But you're right, LGD has had it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a while until people actually catch on to like how they do it, and then they will probably adjust around again, because when you look at Chinese teams, they're usually very static, like Newbie, even VG.
Predictable kind of.
Yeah, very predictable, exactly, And LGD doesn't fit that at all. They kind of like keep switching it up. And it's just like why they're so good right now, right?
So, I mean, you know some of these players as well as anybody. Like, how are they able to do this? Because it does feel like this LGD team is quite different from some of the iconic Chinese powers that we've seen in the past.
I mean, I was quite close to Maybe and FY. And X-Nova too, of course, because he played in WG back then. And X-Nova was always a guy that, when we were in Faceless, we played a lot against WG. And we kind of like were making fun of him, you know? And we were like, wait at him at Fountain with like Invoker Nyx and just keep sniping him and stuff, you know, kind of make fun of him that way. But he's come a very long way, and he's showing that he's one of the best support players in the world, and he's doing really, really well. Now, of course, we have FY, really versatile. Luckily, he went back from to position 4 again from that off lane. His off lane was not good at all compared to his position 4. And you have this, maybe it's just the young superstar that every player needs. You can play around. Yeah,
with FY, he was kind of touted as like the emerging superstar support player in China, but then he quickly well, I mean, not quickly, but he disappeared for a couple of years because he just kind of fell off. His team did. Then he was playing offlane, just did not look anywhere near as good in the offlane role. But the past 6 months, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, people forget that this guy was the superstar support player before there were superstar support players.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last couple of years, you know, since really the Frankfurt Major, we've been talking about the 4 position being so important and these guys being really the headliners. FY was that before that was meta.
I mean, he was on my team, of course, for like 6 months, and he was labeled like superstar support, as you said, but not only because of his play. That's what people see, of course, but in the team, he just enables his players, you know? He's like a very active guy, he talks a lot, he's just like a very cheerful person, like a very positive guy. If things go wrong, he will say, yeah, just forget it, just keep looking forward. It's like very important to have people like that on the team.
Is that it's interesting. I don't hear a lot of the players on the Chinese scene described that way.
Really?
Did you find when you played here that was the norm?
Well, it was Fenrir and him mostly. And Super was more like the quiet guy.
Okay.
Well, and then I had Ice, of course, who was like, like his usual self. But during that time, the two of them, because they were very close friends too, Fenrir and FY, for a very long time, they were always very cheerful, very happy guys. And they always like just made sure the team is functioning, you know?
That's awesome.
It's very important as well. And normally the job of support combos as well. So let's talk a little bit about Optic. Their support combo, PPD and Zai. Not as talkative, or at least I would say that they're maybe as talkative, but maybe not as known for being as upbeat as you just described.
You're being so diplomatic. I love it.
I'm trying. I mean, is that something that they're lacking, Lynn?
I think PPD is different in game than
Yeah?
on Twitter. and in pubs.
So.
He's definitely not as salty, right?
No.
That's for sure. Like you play in-house leagues with him, he will sleep you like that.
That first line, whoever wrote that first line up there,
On Twitter.
the rest is history.
He's a guy who will throw a lot of sarcastic, snarky remarks when you're playing pub games with him, but it's a different story in pro games.
And it's all in good nature.
Of course. Yeah. He's never really angry.
I love playing pubs
sure?
with him on my team. It's always funny to try and poke the bear a bit, you know? It'll make some snarky remark about
it's the same when you play in-house leagues with him.
If you don't take it seriously, it's
kind of fun.
That's what we got told as well when they were playing Virtus Pro last weekend. CCC was laughing because PPD got so mad at something, and it was a non-game related issue, but he got very mad, and CCC was just laughing, and afterwards like, why were you laughing? Well, Peter got so mad. As long as you can have a laugh about it, it's so good. So we're talking about Optic's chances against LGD here. I know it's an uphill battle, but they've just faced Virtus Pro last week. You know, they got a little bit of taste about what it's like facing a big team like that.
Got a taste of being 3-0 stomped.
That
You're right.
That didn't go too well at all.
So they're ready to get stomped again? Is that what you're saying, Sheep?
I think it was Fly that said it at some point that you learn the most from losses.
Yeah,
that is true, but only one of those games was like a real loss. The other two games were just complete one-sided games.
Well,
game 2 was pretty good.
Curve,
Game 2 was really good, but game 1 and 3 they were like, like game 1 they didn't really wake up yet.
And game 3 was 19 minutes and 12 seconds. Yeah.
There was that. Sure.
I mean, honestly, if you lose a long game like game 2, it's just rough to recover, you know? It's very rough.
I think the big thing when you look at a series like this in all seriousness is Optic is a team that is going to give themselves a chance in the draft against any team in the world because they can seal their lane so well. They have these sort of fifth pick out cards that they can play at any time with 33. And so I think when you talk about a lot of teams against LGD, you're questioning whether a lot of teams are going to even get through the draft. And then I think Optic plays a very stable early game. So I think Optic can get to, unlike against Virtus Pro, I think Optic can get to 15 or 20 minutes pretty even. And the question is going to be whether or not they can out-execute LGD, which that's a tall ask.
Well, last weekend we did see CCC win against no one in the mid lane. And that's why he is also our featured matchup, because he will be playing against Maybe in the mid lane, which is also going to be a very difficult one for him. I think CCC over the last couple of months, you already touched on that earlier on in the day, Nahaz, that he's one of the most talked about players in terms of performance, purely because he is not as stable as people would like him to be. Last week, as said, he beat no one for Virtus Pro, and that is a big achievement, I think, considering no one is considered the best mid of the moment.
Very interesting. I see Somnus maybe involved in way more kills there, 75% compared to the 62-ish%. Does more hero damage. The net worth thing kind of suggests CCNC farms more, but probably also maybe some longer games there.
But he has less last hits.
Yeah. I imagine CCNC's having longer games or something.
The missing stat on there is actually building damage, because the heroes that they're putting CCNC on, think about the Dragon Knights, the Death Prophets, even the Razors. They're putting him on heroes with a lot of push and split push potential. We haven't talked about this yet, Black. You've watched some tape on, maybe pretty well, first of all, and you've watched some tape on CCNC. How do you break down this matchup in terms of the skills of the players?
Well, usually how it's gonna go, Optic first 2 or first 3 picks the hero of CCNC all the time, right? Just like a stable hero, as you said, DK or DP, whereas LGD like rather 4th or 5th picks it, like a Quap, something very active, you can snowball. So it's like a very different play styles. And I think that's how we'll see it too. Like he'll stay more in lane, trying to be more objective based, whereas maybe we'll like just move around more and try to find more kills, as we have seen on the graphs as well. Yeah,
there's a kind of set formula for what CCNC is going to play, whereas maybe he gets freedom. He does sometimes play the Death Prophets if his team decides, this is going to be a Death Prophet game and we're going to let Ame be the big playmaker, but other times he will be on the Quaps, the Embers, and have a more fun, flashy time. Some great Storm Spirits as well came out from him at Epicenter, so that's another hero to look out for.
He's just insanely versatile, honestly, maybe. I can't say the same about CCNC because we haven't seen it yet. Maybe he is too, I don't know. But maybe has shown it in a lot of games already, what he can play and what he can do with all these heroes.
And as I looked at LGD's draft just before the series, a lot of the points that you guys are making right now show up in their drafting too. LGD opened their 2 supports in both of the drafts in the previous series, which is something that most other teams have gone away from. But they trust in the laning play of their 2 supports so much, and so much of what they do is based upon securing favorable matchup for their cores.
But they're also so unpredictable, right? Sometimes they just last pick a bounty hunter support suddenly, and then put like the Kunkka, their first 2 pick on a core position that you wouldn't expect at first, and then they just like snowball that way. You can't really prepare against them.
You don't give this team bounty, and I think you don't give this team Doom either.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, those are some bans that I think Optic will get. I mean, seeing EG play against the bounty hunter from a Chinese team yesterday, I think is reason enough to remove that one from the pool. That was a rough one. But Optic, they're gonna have an uphill battle, but. There's actually good things in this matchup for Optic, a lot of them actually, or at least one big one is because they are in the group of LGD, means that they're not going to be facing LGD in the playoff bracket, and when they would face LGD, if they do make it to the same bracket as LGD, it would be further on in the tournament. That is very important for Optic to get very far in this tournament because they are one of the teams that actually need these DPC points more than anybody else, more than LGD. LGD is already guaranteed for TI invite, but for Optic, they need these points because without them, they're going to go through qualifiers, and the qualifiers are scary. We've talked about the NA qualifiers a little bit already, and it keeps looking more and more scary. With
they need to be top 4, was it?
Yeah,
top 4. Any points, but
that's if VG doesn't make it there too.
Yes, exactly.
If they get 4th and Thunder get 3rd, then
they're
yes.
Rip.
So it's basically just the 2 of them competing right now for that spot.
Yes, or
unless
they
TNC
get higher and TNC does better. Like there's a lot of scenarios. There's a reason why Mineski isn't necessarily locked in for TI because there is one
Mineski
scenario.
Mineski is pretty much
1% chance, something like that.
It's newbie that have to sweat, especially after seeing TNC finish top 2 in their group yesterday. It's newbie that have to sweat.
So newbie is 7.
Yeah, newbie or 7.
Newbie is
right.
With 2,400 points, which is not a whole awful lot, if you ask me. So there's still a lot to play for this tournament. All best of 3s, so there's not going to be any excuses, and everybody's going to go all out, which is what I really like. There's no holding back. There's no saving for a tournament down the road because this is it. This is the last chance for a lot of these teams to face the TI. All the TI invited teams are here already. I don't think we're missing out on anybody. So, yeah, should be a good one. And with this best of 3, I think that should be a good one as well. We're going to get the draft on the way very soon. And before that, though, we have a couple of community questions. And I have been told that they're good ones. So there's a lot to live up to there. If you, by the way, have any questions, there are social media channels that you can ask them on. And I'm sure you found them already. But otherwise, you can check out PGL Esports for the numerous links that are out there. All right, first question. Since the meta right now involves a 2-1-2 laning phase, why don't we see strong zoning position 4 and 5 heroes like Ogre Magi? I agree. We actually talked about Ogre Magi yesterday, and we were expecting, like, there is a chance You think it's picked?
I think we will, to answer that question. I think Fnatic tried out Ogre Magi at Birmingham when Undying was banned. I think you've seen Undying come back, and I think Ogre can do a lot of the same things. Maybe not quite as good a team fighter, but I think you will see Ogre.
I think we do see strong zoning / laning heroes in the 4-5 role, just we haven't seen the Ogre Magi. I think that's kind of, particularly the 5 role is often strong laner, you know, heroes like Bane are being seen a lot, Disruptor, Warlock. I guess Warlock's more like the sustain, but he is a strong laning hero. We started seeing more Undying yesterday, so there is definitely a trend towards strong laners.
It's hard for Ogre because, right, he's got basically past the laning phase, Ogre's Bloodlust. I mean, he's a single target hero that his single target spells don't do anything against BKB.
Yeah, he doesn't offer what like Undying offers, like a good team fight, or even Bane just disables afterwards, or just enfeeble. Yeah. It just...
I mean, Bane has 2 spells that work against BKB, right?
Yeah. I mean, Ogre is in a rough position, but I think if somebody will bring it out, it will be VP. I want to see Soul on the Ogre again.
Oh, God, yes.
There's 2 Jakiros banned out this game, guys. This is how important
this ban is.
And 2 Chens as well. All right, we will get to more questions later on. Don't worry. For now, though, it is time for the draft of LGD versus Optic Gaming with all the 7
first-phase bans.
Wow.
We are in the next patch
those
already.
patches, I was just going to say.
It's rolling out, man.
Once every 2 weeks was not enough.
Yep, once every couple of days, try that.
Oh, God, please, no.
That is something that LGD, I mean, we haven't seen them on the new patch yet. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's true.
Well,
I think some of the heroes like I mean, they're a very versatile team. I think the kind of rap on Ami was that he wasn't that versatile. He was just playing TBE Luna too much, but he showed in the last couple of tournament wins that he can play way more. He was the one that brought Slack into the meta, so we're seeing a much bigger hero pool coming out from him.
I want to see Arc Warden.
5 seconds.
What?
Ami Arc Warden.
Who wants to see an Arc
Nobody
Warden?
I'm happy.
said
Me and Black
ever.
will get along well because we both like the dirty picks here.
Nice to go first pick again. So it looks like people actually still first pick it, even though it got nerfed quite heavily. But it's usually put on the offlane role now, right?
Yes, we've seen it today twice on the offlane role.
Well, yesterday it was twice on position 5 role, so you can't really say that either. I guess he's still trying to like find his position in the meta right now. People aren't too sure yet what
he's
to
still
do
a
with him.
strong laner, but it feels like he's now more item dependent than before because of the nerfs.
Honestly, let's be completely honest though. Before his ult was completely OP.
It was pretty stupid.
There's no way it should be like that. Like what they did to him now is really good. Very strong laner, and his mid game presence is still there, albeit not that strong.
I particularly agree with like the change where it no longer reduces building vision. That always felt so bad.
Like you darkness your entire base, you're actually scared of going out.
Right.
This is the first game that we see Optic play on their side, by the way.
So this is now that they took away the Jakiro combo, so you figure this will probably be the Disruptor. But this is the classic combo for LGD, and again, not afraid of revealing their 2 supports.
Disruptor always feels good against Night Stalker too. Just very fast, annoying hero at nighttime, and you can always pull him back, lock him in place pretty well.
Oh no! Oh my goodness!
Ooh, we have the Mirana back again.
Sleep Arrow.
That should be a core Mirana though.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And hopefully not a 1-2-4 core Mirana.
Yeah.
With that said, FY loved playing the support
That's
Mirana.
true. He was really good at that.
Even a couple of years ago already, he always wanted to have that.
But FY's play on the Naga in the last month or so has been fantastic.
That's why I suggested it's a core Mirana,
think
because
so.
FY's Naga is just
It's
good.
so like he's the only support player that I see where for long stretches of the game, sleep is his least important spell.
Yeah.
Like he runs around pushing waves with Riptide. He gets great nets to set up ganks.
Although that being said, his sleep like setups are still very
Oh
amazing.
yeah, they're sick.
He's one of the few Nuggets that consistently goes Blink Dagger, which I feel like is a very underbought item on this hero.
And he's one of the only support Nagas who actually juke with his illusions, you know? Like he acts like it's a real hero, but it's like not. It's just actually an illusion, and then the real hero just sleeps you from an unexpected position.
And consistently uses his illusions to provide vision.
Yeah. He's very good at the hero.
If the arrow's on top of you, you can't BKB it out of sleep.
You cannot. If it's like right on top of you, you cannot BKB.
Yep.
Okay.
How do they respond? Like honestly, Naga is also really good against Night Stalker.
Do you pick us just CC and C hero here? Get Dragon Knight?
Dragon Knight or DP?
Leshrac,
Leshrac
CC and C hero, there we go.
Oh, DP's banned, yeah. Leshrac.
And can be a Zai hero as well.
That's the
big
might be, but can be flex.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the.
Oh, FY is happy already. I got my Naga. Guys.
That's a smile if I got my Mirana, maybe. But yeah, much more likely to see the core Mirana.
Is it a carry? Like, mid Mirana seems a bit underwhelming, though, against a lot of these mids now. The meta
You're going to
mids.
get outlaned, you think?
Yeah. But they banned the DK now, so one of the bigger threats is gone already. DP is gone. So it could be possible. Because even if the Naga roams middle level 2, it's a free setup for the arrow.
If it does end up being Mirana against Leshrac, how do you handicap that one?
I think 1v1 the laning goes to Lash, but bottom Mirana has killing potential on the Lash, especially with the roaming Naga. Very easy. Like one arrow, he's dead immediately because he has no HP or armor. So they do ban out the Slark. Slark doesn't strike me as really good.
Oh, but it's been a good
Lash.
Ame here. It's been a really good Ame here.
Yeah, but core Lash is really good against Slark.
Yeah, but the play has been to like pick something up like a Nyx that forces the Leshrac into a support role, and then you can pick the Slark.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's really good against Night Stalker too now, because it doesn't put your vision to 675 anymore. Rather reduces it by 25%. Omni Knight ban.
They had to face that twice earlier on in the day, so don't want to deal with that again. Even though they did win against it once.
So the Razor, if they want to target those CCNC heroes.
You know, the bounty is still in the pool for LGD.
But bounty Naga is very hard to run together.
It's awkward, but man, the X-Nova bounty.
I mean, it is really good, but I think they rather have something like Disruptor, some catch,
surely
some
just
setup,
take Disruptor.
team fight setup.
I agree.
I wonder though, now they could still take Disruptor. What if Optic actually banned Disruptor? What combo here would they have? Because Jakiro is out of the pool too. And there's not really anything that strikes me as amazing.
Maybe they just feel the Mirana arrow is enough and you don't have to combo around Naga. It's a good hero even without the sleep setup.
For sure. If you ever get the Meteor Hammer, you're your own setup anyway.
You still could take the Nyx Assassin, by the way.
You could. Either side as well.
Yeah, exactly.
5 seconds remaining.
That would make their lineup very squishy, though.
Yeah, like, honestly, Nyx and Naga is a bit awkward too, I guess.
That is true.
Like, okay, offlane Nyx for me, if I'm a carry, you just free farm. Almost every hero just free farms against Nyx.
Oh yeah, that's why you...
Yeah, the hero is just so weak on lane.
You're not going to put it 3.
As soon as he's level 6, he's scary, but before level 6, nah, no way. And then you have like position 5 Naga or position 5 Nyx, both doesn't really strike me as very good. So they're probably going to stay away from it.
In the past, I'd pick like a Doom or something to with this Naga, but...
Even Beastmaster is quite good against Lash too.
Okay.
Witch Doctor.
Not a hero to combo with the Naga so much, but...
X-Nova staple though, he likes it here, he plays it a lot.
Yes, he does. It's interesting though that how the Western team's Witch Doctor has fallen off so dramatically in terms of how the West values that hero, but the Chinese teams still do place a lot of stock in Witch
But that's
Doctor.
also because they play it very differently, right? In the West they play it as like a Underlord counter, like these high HP hero counter pools, and here they play it as more like a sustain, defensive support. You skill the heal, you skill the stun, you just want to make sure that army gets fat in this game.
But when we saw it earlier today, it wasn't the greatest Witch Doctor. Even though it was a DDC Witch Doctor, which you would expect like is one of the better ones in theory.
it feels weak compared to the Warlock we're seeing more of now.
Just
I guess he's got a stun, whereas Warlock doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the stun is like, it's good, but it's not amazing. And then of course you don't have the team fight presence as a Warlock has.
LGD's turn to pick.
Hey!
There's your
there it
Ogre
is.
Magi.
Thanks for the question, sir.
Thank you for
There
the
you go.
question. Call it.
Now the only thing they're missing is a hero that actually makes like really good use of Bloodlust. Of course you have
Yes.
Night Stalker and Lash, they're okay with it, not bad at all.
Now this is
but
also
it's not a hitter.
This is also vintage PPD. Any two of those 3 heroes would make a strong aggro duel lane.
10 seconds.
These like 5-position melee heroes that are tanky fit nicely when you want to have like a 4-position Lash as well. You don't want to normally run like a 4-position Lash with another squishy support.
And you still have a setup too, with the Fire
Yes.
Blast.
So one of the downsides when we were discussing Ogre just now was that afterwards, you know, he's just a Bloodlust. So which heroes are still in the pool that could really benefit from Ogre just being a Bloodlust hero?
Well, there is...
Is this gonna be Sniper?
Well, Gyro's out, but Luna's still in.
Luna's still
honestly,
in?
any right
Lot
click
of
carry.
heroes,
yeah.
Any right click carry, because his movement speed and attack speed, a Luna would be insane. Even Morphling is really good. Wraith King.
Why don't
I
we see
tend to
more Sniper?
Well, I mean, 1400
nobody's gonna
night
do that,
vision.
but
No, I think I tend to even favor like the early BKB carriers too. With that.
Alright.
Range heroes when you're versing the Mirana sound a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of OD too.
Yeah, that's your I was
Because OD
thinking of.
actually beats Mirana middle and he's not afraid of the Naga ganks
Yeah,
at all.
it gives you that save too if somebody
Yeah.
gets arrowed.
I would really
somebody
like
else
OD
gets
here. Gives a setup too for the Lash if he wants to gank. would be quite a good pick for them. But does CCNC play OD? I don't know.
Not
I'm
as
sure
much.
that
but
Alan
I can,
give
but I
us,
can tell you
an
that.
answer.
Because usually Pikehead is the physical damage guy, and he's more the objective based player.
So yeah, I mean, only twice they picked it in the last 3 months. CCNC played it once, and 33 played it once.
Playing
Brewmaster.
Oh yeah, there you go.
A
Giving
lot
them the
of
team
control.
fight
That is a
control.
Dispel Bloodlust. I mean, now Ogre is 1 spell. He's now a 0 spell hero.
Holy
Oh,
crap!
that is very
How
nice.
have we been talking about LGD for 20 minutes and we haven't talked about Chalice?
Yeah.
Like this guy has absolutely revolutionized the offlane meta. Like he does so much with so little. Gets sacrificed every game, yet still has this amazingly consistent teamfight impact.
Yeah,
What do you think he does differently about other offlaners?
I just think I think he is given a lot less help in lane, a lot less resources consistently to work with. He doesn't necessarily get the guaranteed 25 minutes like other Dooms, right? They're getting these guaranteed lanes where they're getting every game Pipe and Crimson Guard by 25 minutes. Chalice's item timings are always a little bit later because the team doesn't help him as much, but he's always getting as much or more impact.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing a lot.
It's not like a huge thing.
No,
but
no, it's curious.
No, I mean, he's doing the same amount of work with less, basically.
yes,
right?
that's like that's what makes me love him. He's like a Moneyball player.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it even when he played Lycan, right? He was so poor, but he still had a lot of impact. They just drew a lot of attention away from Maybe and Army.
Exactly.
That
Storm
is a
Spirit.
really
That is
good
an insane
Storm
Storm game.
Yeah.
Where's Blitz when you need him? This is a free Storm game.
They've their offlane is the hero you look to have lockdown? None at all. The support duo? None at all.
Only Naga net, honestly.
Yeah. This is looking fantastic for Storm.
And of course, Bloodlust. Attack speed is one of Storm's biggest weaknesses, and
Yeah.
Bloodlust is insane on Storm Spirit.
CCNC doesn't play Storm a lot, but he does play it. They're 2-0
he
on it
plays
in the
it a
last 3
lot
months.
in pubs.
He plays a lot.
He does
in
play it a
pubs,
lot.
that's right.
Like, maybe not pro games, but he plays it a lot.
Yeah.
So what do we look? Honestly, I want to see an anti-mage from Army. I know he loves the hero and he's really good this game. Against both Flash as
You
well as
are
Storm.
not wrong.
Seconds remaining.
I feel
Wow.
like I've seen a few times where the Storm's picked. I'm like, yeah, it's an anti-mage last pick, and then it still loses the game. Ooh, Drow
A
last
Drow
man.
Ranger would have been good
Storm,
with
but
the
kind
Mirana.
of. But Storm is like the Drow counter. In
Well,
a lot
Yeah.
of ways.
it goes either way, right? If you ever get silenced
it's-
once, you die.
True, true.
But if you jump him first, then he dies,
But
of
then,
course.
and then come mid-game, you've got a BKB, and at no point during past like 25, 30 minutes is Drow going to counter Storm.
And Mirana is insanely strong with the draw aura.
I agree. Yeah, with that's one way to make that leap buff really come into play, because the problem with the leap is you get all this attack speed, but you don't actually hit that hard.
And actually, Storm is also really afraid of 5-man, which Drow excels at.
Yep.
So it's a really good ban overall.
But there is one hero in Ame's pool that I think can crush the Void, and that is
You mean Void, yeah.
crush the Storm, and that's the Faceless Void.
Void is a very good hero too. Goes well with their lineup. They have a sleep set up for it too.
LGD's
There's an
turn
arrow
to
to
pick.
come out into the
Weaver.
I
Now I want to see the Void for sure.
I think you this is such a good Void game.
Void or Anti-Mage,
Wow.
please. Don't make us look dumb here.
Yeah.
Is Void a good enough hero to benefit from Bloodlust, even though Bloodlust is going to get...
I mean, Weaver.
Other way.
sorry, if
Weaver,
Weaver is Weaver
Yeah.
gonna... Because he will probably build Lincoln, so he'll be a little bit resistant to the
10
debuff.
seconds
I mean,
remaining.
you usually don't build boots on a hero, but the attack speed is still very
Faceless
nice.
Void.
And there it goes.
There
yeah.
we go.
Good pick.
After the Weaver pick, that was like inevitable.
Yeah.
They should have expected it too.
We're seeing new hero like Weaver, Ogre picked up. That is something different coming out from Optic here.
Why
in
do you
game
guys
one.
think they picked up the Weaver? It doesn't strike me as amazing here, honestly.
So yeah, I'm trying. Normally, you see Weaver and you think, has he got like a good lane matchup or something? I
Yeah.
don't think that's amazing against the
it is
Brewmaster.
not
don't
amazing.
think it
And
is.
also, you get slapped one arrow, you're dead.
I just think they
Chrono,
wanted
you're
to,
dead.
I just think they wanted to play this game on mobility. They just wanted to exploit the fact that these heroes could move around. One song is probably not going to
Yeah.
catch 4 or 5 heroes in this game, but I feel like it was doubling down, right?
I don't think you need to when you've got the Storm there.
Exactly,
They
exactly.
wanted to get a fighting carry, though, so they can make the game more about the Storm. So like, look, you don't want something too greedy, but Weaver just seems a bit odd.
Do I need to even ask for you guys' predictions, or are you just
LGD.
going to go all for LGD? Anybody want to
Any
go
difference?
for Optic?
I'm going for LGD.
No,
Panel curse?
the panel curse wasn't there.
Yeah,
We've
that's
shown
right.
doesn't
We've
exist.
overturned it.
Sure.
We've overturned
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Oh,
LGD. Yeah,
LGD.
I think the Void pick is great. CCNC Storm needs to carry. It's question: do you believe in
Alright.
CCNC's ability to carry games?
I'm also quite afraid, right? If Weaver or Storm dies, the damage output is very limited.
Yes.
So we'll have to see how that goes.
Yep.
Previously, when the panel was all on the same page, our commentators actually took the other team as their favorite in the matchup. Let's find out what Trent and Zayori think this time.
Not sure that's the case this time, Sheaver. That Void last pick seems like a pretty good nail in the coffin, but Trent, how you feeling about the heavy mobility here for Optic?
Well, I came prepared. I brought the Ogre today.
There you go.
I was feeling it. You know, someone was going to bring it out, have themselves a good game, so this might be it. No, I mean, you can't fault the Void pick. It looks very good, and they tried to abuse kind of like the lack of control, I feel like, with the Storm and the Weaver, and that almost makes the Void that much better. You know,
Right.
Void already looked good, and then this happens.
Yeah.
So
And
I'd be watching over that
I
one.
do sort of agree with the panel about the Weaver pick. It seems like a little bit of an odd choice here. Obviously, they did want to play a heavy mobility game, but they just have so many tools now to set up for that arrow, even the chrono. There are so many ways to make this Weaver's life a living hell, it feels like.
I think Weaver is a hero that can like skirmish very well. You know, you throw out the bugs, you think about a Night Stalker trying to chase, it's just additional vision. It is something very irritating in terms of like the Roche Pit and everything, which can often be underlooked. You know, maybe just a little bit more of like area securing here, but I really, really like this Void. And it's not just chrono. Time dilation is very good this game. Weaver hates time dilation. Like, this Void pick just got so much better at the end.
Yeah.
But that's one hero. You know, there's 9 of them.
X-Nova, is this an early first blood? 33, not going to be able to chase him down, but that Witch Doctor takes a lot of damage. Okay, so lanes will get figured out up top. Let's see here. PSG.LGD, they're going to be doing their dual off lane with the Naga Siren and the Brewmaster. And they'll be up against the Ogre Weaver duo. And mid, the Potom Storm. Look to see a maybe, now known as Somnus, on the Mirana, on the Bunny Mirana at that.
Beautiful. Very excited about that one.
One of
The
my
classic.
favorite cosmetics
Yeah,
here.
gotta love that. The old Retribution cosmetic for past mistakes there. But yeah, the Ogre and the Weaver, kind of Ogre and Brew matching up. Weaver and Naga, I guess, is both like the edgy edge of this matchup sort of thing, dealing with like armor and whatnot. But FY's like so aggressive up there with that early armor there. He's got himself the triple Mango, Stout, and the Tango. You'd think this guy was the offlaner.
Yeah, beefy Brewmaster, beefy Naga. Definitely not an easy lane for Optic to deal with a Weaver Ogre in terms of just pressuring them out. Down bottom, though, I feel like Lesh Nightstalker has some pretty serious capability to pressure a Witch Doctor Faceless Void. We were talking earlier about how Witch Doctor feels a little bit weak at stages of the game right now.
Well, I think it's got that spammy edge to it, like a lot of these, you know, Axe Skywrath kind of became the gold standard in terms of like what you compare all these other ones to, because it was the one that's being like first phase, and then these other combinations essentially came out of a need to try and mix and match to make up for those being banned out, and then we just kind of moved on to some other combos.
Yep.
So the classic hero to counter that was Warlock or Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor's always been a very common counter to Night Stalker as well. Just in terms of his early aggression, this was more so when the Night Stalker was the support, but you're always looking for these like 2-man dives or something under your tower, and Cass can wreck that.
Yeah.
Completely stop them in their tracks and really punish them with the tower damage. So I like the Witch Doctor here, but I also really like the idea of this like spam ability, right? Just non-stop lightning, throwing out some stuns as well. Ame, of course, gonna dance this one off, but still. Heavy damage that kind of comes over time. It's not all like one big burst, right? It's like lightnings, you space them out past the time dilations, which of course also has a very long cooldown to boot right now anyway. So
what are you thinking about this mid matchup? The Storm on the Mirana. Two heroes that we don't really see in the mid that much right now. Storm still a viable pick, but not the most common. Maybe gets a first blood solo kill on CC&C. Perfect time to be looking at that lane, and he will survive as he finishes off that range creep. So, okay, after the first blood, how you feeling about this mid lane there?
Well, how about top lane where PPD, the Ogre, using that HP pool, trying to regen his way to safety.
It's going to be a tough one.
Oh, the Ogre!
He's just barely still alive, but FY will bring him down. Chalice pops some stick charges, but he goes down, so it's a 1-for-1 up here in the top lane.
I mean, they tipped the Ogre, though. They recognized, you know, how nice that was.
But all the while down bottom, X-Nova did end up going down to the Night Stalker, so it was a little skirmish, and Ame not able to save his support.
Oh, man. But, yeah, mid lane, though, he gets that bottle sometimes. Very low on the HP, even after bottle, though, so CC&C might be able to get a little bit of an edge here. If he can bully him somewhat, maybe need some more regen ferried out, and yeah, he's going to be just fine. Now all the items are coming.
Yep.
I'll be living a dangerous life down here.
Well,
so low.
CC&C, though, able to recover. You know, it's important to try to kill Storm before level 6, but it is a hero that's kind of used to getting killed before level 6. You know, not that uncommon where you get pressured at this stage. Stacks tend to be one of the big things that Storm relies on to recover. Obviously, none of those coming yet, but he's going to move into the jungle himself, start stacking away, and work on getting some of this recovery fun.
Yeah, not feeling confident to just kind of stay in the mid lane right now. Too worried about the level 3 Starstorm. There's a leap available for the Mirana. I guess he knows his rotations and missing heroes. He was kind of pinging around near that ward. Yeah, he did see it get placed, so Zai will come and deal with that. And he will find the haste rune too. Not bad. Not a regen, but not bad.
I guess maybe a more broad question. Do you believe in the Storm Spirit pick this game? I know it's a comfort hero for CCNC. Do you think it works in this draft against like a Void, a Brewmaster, a Naga? There is a fair bit of control, although some of that control is unconventional or locked into a long cooldown.
No, I think it looks really good. Obviously, the big control issue is going to be the Chrono, but when they picked it, the Chrono wasn't there, so we have to kind of take that out of the equation when we're looking at like why it was picked. And you imagine yourself zipping on top of someone like a Brewmaster with that Orchid, that can just end the entire fight. And they don't have those instant stuns to deal with in that situation, except for the Chrono, of course, which they picked after. So he's going to be drawing a lot of the Chronospheres on top of himself. They have to try and protect him. But
speaking of Brewmaster, Chalice up top. I think this is likely to be a kill. Pycat with a few more auto attacks actually misses that last one, but will chase him down with a Shikuchi under the tower. Now on the bottom side, FY. Initiated on, it's a hasted up Storm Spirit by CCNC. He actually walks up and just snags the bounty, gets the kill on FY. Ame and Xnova probably gonna have to head for the hills, but I don't think Ame is gonna be able to make it out here. It's gonna be close with that silence, and he gets brought down. 5-2, Optic actually pulling into the lead already.
A lot of parts of Night Stalker's kit got nerfed, but that's silence level 1 at nighttime. 5 seconds still.
It's
brutal.
just as potent.
Yeah, man, you're a faceless Void. That hurts.
33 with a lot of presence in this bottom lane. So the Weaver, though, not farming as well as he would like. Only 16 last hits here at about 6 minutes.
Yeah, his net worth is still fairly high, though.
Yeah, he did get that
kills.
kill. That definitely helps. But, I mean, the Brewmaster is actually out-CSing him right now, which is maybe a little bit surprising.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of a classic now in terms of Dota, just like how unimportant kills seem to be.
Xnova, he's going to get dove. Again, this Night Stalker. Nighttime, he's making it happen. 33, living up to the hype. And we were talking about how he seems to be that key playmaker on this team in a lot of games, and certainly the case to start off this one.
Yeah, and a couple of our Night Stalkers lately have felt like the first Nighttime they're very like passive in a way. They get in some sort of a matchup where they're just kind of farming and pressuring and everything, but he's securing those kills because he's got a weaker support kind of alone. So FY is going to be here now, though. See if they can grab something out of Zai. He's also level 5, by the way, out-leveling both of those supports on the Radiant side. And he's out.
TPs. Yeah, FY can't quite get the vision.
Meanwhile, Chalice maybe in a bit of trouble here. Still only level 4.
Under the tower.
And that's an Ogre.
Yeah, I was going to say not the easiest dive, but when you've got an Ogre, he's pretty competent. And fortunately for the Brewmaster, he will take yet another tumble. And PPD is not even below half health. He's basically topped off. Going to be a TP up from FY. Immediately initiated on by PPD. It's a pretty bold maneuver, but the Naga is rather tanky. The Brew's on the way up. Maybe they can make something happen out of this, but Pycat is now level 6.
Arrow, though.
And maybe, a.k.a. Somnus.
Oh,
that's a big one. So now this Priestess of the Moon is looking pretty scary. That rotation does open up a little bit of space for CCNC in the mid, so we will start to close that gap, but finding that kill on the enemy position 1, absolutely huge. Bottom lane, Ame getting low, silenced up, but able to time walk back to safety. Xnova gets off a cask, takes a bounce across the heroes. But now, maybe in trouble as he gets stunned after initiated on by the Night Stalker, and it gets turned right back the other way. Kill up on the board for Optic.
Xnova easily brought down.
Top lane, now PPD. A lot of chaos across these lanes. Much different from that last series we saw where it seemed like the lanes were a lot more quiet in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Non-stop action here. PPD going down up top, and Pycat taking a lot of damage. Does still have a time lapse. Maybe actually still just hanging out up here as Ame goes down in the bottom lane to the Lesh Night Stalker.
This guy's an animal. He's 5-0-1 right now.
But wait, there's more. Maybe now, stunned. He's slowed down by the Ignite, and Pycat trying to Shikuchi in. He doesn't have another leap, and there's that Geminate. One more is needed. 18 HP.
He's going, dude.
Pycat sees it. He wants it. He's got him in the sights. And finally, Somnus will be punished for that rotation.
There's a not many position ones that could have chased down that Mirana.
Yeah.
Weaver is like one of the only ones, honestly. So it kind of shows like the way they're trying to create this space across the map. Because who's touching CCNC lately? Nobody. He has been alone. I mean, this Weaver's creating so much space up top. He's diving, he's chasing, he's getting this Mirana. The question is the Weaver pick going to work out in the end after this like laning stage? It kind of depends just how much he's going to be able to build up for CCNC right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. This is that stage of the game where normally...
Look at that combo down bottom. The split earth out of nowhere, silence, dead.
Wow.
100-0 so fast.
It happened so fast, and now Mirana mid lane tries to leap back. CCNC grabs him with a Vortex, has a double damage rune on, but not going to be able to pursue for the kill as FY makes the rotation. But look, the dubious duo from down bottom, they're going to kill Chalice again up top, but this rotation is what we're looking at. Zai looking for a stun setup, does have that third point in the lightning.
Damn, these aggressive tips, man. 4th death for Chalice.
But CCNC set up by the ensnare, arrow connects, and this is probably a dead storm. No, Zai comes, breaks it up, turns it around the other way. It's a twofer. Somnus, FY down, CCNC still alive.
Oh man, he said hello to Maybe at the start of the game. And now he's throwing out the tip too.
Call me Maybe.
Clearly they're best buds, I would tell.
Yeah, 4-14. Optic, the underdogs in this matchup against PSG.LGD. They are coming out swinging, and they are making it look like they're the favorites.
14-4, man, those kills are racking up fast. And where is our net worth on the Radiant side? Currently, it's concentrated on a Mirana.
Yeah.
So maybe going for a bit more standard build as he maxed out that Starstorm earlier compared to our 1-1-4 earlier today. That was a bit unique.
But Ame is in poverty mode, though. I really expected this Void to be able to survive a little bit better down bottom, but they had the lockdown, and now up top, he is going to time walk. X-Nova's there, but I think PyCat just wants to dive this. They know he's 5. There's no Chronosphere threat. He does have a lot of stick charges, though, and he is very close. Just one creep. Not going to be able to find it. PyCat with the time lapse right into the Thunderclap, and he will get pushed back. Has some friends nearby. Zai with some lightning kind of breaks this up and will stop PSG dead in their tracks.
Yeah, well, there it is at least. The Chronosphere up and ready to go. Might be able to find something.
The maybe Mirana still barely ahead of CCNC's Storm Spirit.
Who has a regen rune and is just farming up like crazy right now in the mid.
Yeah, I think one thing that PSG have not been able to do this game is control runes. And Storm with rune control is very scary. It allows him to accelerate that early game so much faster than usual.
They're thinking about going bottom with the silence here and that vision from the bugs.
They do have the Bruce split.
Yeah, it's like 1 minute till nighttime though, so. Oh, top lane. Ame. Oh, he almost went down. So close. Just got off that time. Peter just runs up the tower. Like your HP pool is just, it's another utility thing when you're Ogre.
Yeah. Arrow down bottom connects on to 33, and Snare sets it up, and in tower range, that'll make it a pretty easy kill. It does go the way of Maybe, and it's actually a big time shutdown streak after all that pressure they put on the Void. So that'll
kills.
Be some progress towards the Maelstrom now for the Mirana.
So we had our earlier Mirana. Obviously the build was a bit different. Expect way harder into the leap early, but at this point we're level 9, doesn't really matter. Going to be kind of similar in terms of like having that Maelstrom and everything.
Sure.
We saw some problems in that game. It felt like the Mirana was having a very difficult time actually getting involved in the fights and putting in a lot of damage. Now mind you, I feel like I didn't see many Starstorms there, whereas Maybe's been a lot better about that. Oh, nice.
Song of the Siren.
The old C9 classic.
Well, this is, about as classic as it gets, I think. And Naga, Priestess of the Moon, 2 ways to set up for the arrow. Now, down by that bottom rune spawn, they're going on to Chalice. This silence is doing so much work, but the Bruce split, not going to come. There's the stun from PPD, and they have the control to bring him down once more. That is the 5th death of the game for the Brewmaster. So he is a 1/3 of the deaths so far for his team.
You are so reliant on this Mirana picking this game back up. Look at that block of Dire Heroes in the net worth chart. I mean, that's ridiculous. They're controlling this game. Zai is ahead of the offlaner at this point.
I mean, Zai has turned into a core at this point. He's level 9 on Leshrac. He's going to go for a Drum of Endurance after the Arcane Boots. This is really scary. Lesh is one of these great position 4s that actually can start to feel like a core if he gets a start like this. It reminds me of like the way Naga Siren can transition if she gets a really good start.
And we're still waiting on the Chronos. I mean, the first Chronos, obviously, they aren't that impactful. It kind of feels like Spectre in a lot of ways in terms of just like, once it heads to that late game, though, and those fights get further and further apart, and you have a Chrono every fight, it feels very difficult to fight against. So
that's still a long way off, Trent. We got half an hour to go before we get to that point, and a whole lot of creep smacking.
All right, but in terms of like, I know people were asking, we had a question for the panel. Where are the Ogre picks? First off, Chalice, I think he might want to make this number 5. Maybe there'll be a turnaround.
Or number 6, but he's silenced, and a nice follow-up stun from Zai. The Witch Doctor going to get caught inside of it as well. Ame does finish off that tier 1 tower up top. X-Nova with a Death Ward actually does get some vision onto PyCat. It might be enough. Time lapse back. Nope. He's
was
good.
not enough.
X-Nova dies, and they're just going to go on to the Naga Siren. She's silenced, but it's Somnus. He's here with a big Starstorm. Gets the kill on PPD. Now wants to chase down 33, who's just running into enemy territory. Makes the escape for his team. Cancels the TP as the arrow would have connected.
He didn't go for the flight plane to the trees. I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, a little greedy.
And now what?
The courier? Oh.
I mean, they're going to find him.
Yeah, they scouted him, and he's dead. Well, that was interesting, but does make some space. He survives definitely longer than he should have in the enemy base in 15 minutes. Now Chrono mid lane. Ame sets it up onto CCNC. Maybe he's there with the arrow, and it's another kill on the Storm Spirit. So good stuff for PSG, and Ame makes a good rotation. You're talking about that first Chrono. It comes in big.
Yeah, solid. Had to be the Storm Spirit, and it looked pretty easy. I guess with all the space being made, there was just no one really around CCNC. He kind of felt like, oh, they're all on the base, but quick TP there from Maybe, who's been really the star of this game without question.
Oh, yes.
Especially just beside of LGD. Like, he's way ahead of his teammates, and even ahead of the entirety of Optic. Yeah. We're operating more of on a like multi-core, 4-core basis right now, essentially, and the classic Peter, you know.
I mean, back in my fantasy league days, Maybe was always my go-to shot caller, and this is one of these games showing you why. It hits the arrow onto the Weaver, predicts where Pycat's going to be,
that was well timed,
and secures another kill. I mean, that was beyond impressive.
That's a shot caller right there.
There he is. But now silenced up, 33 putting on the pressure. PPD not going to be there in time with the stun, and here's the turn the other way. FY with the ensnare, Death Ward, follow-up error. Good night, sweet Night Stalker. Now Zip.
He wants the kill.
CCNC, he is hasted up. Song of the Siren almost catches him, but not quite. Instead, other side, Zai, the disco ball is still going. Chalice needs to be a little careful, but Zai's out of mana now. Ensnare connects, follow-up will not be there.
Yeah, they're not going to look for the arrow. Peter was there ready to block it, in case they opted for it.
I will say, though, even though Chalice has died so many times this game, of all the offlaners, Brew is one, like he's got a Blink Dagger already. Yeah. 16 minutes, it kind of doesn't really matter. There are a lot of offlaners that would be crippled right now and have no presence, but the nature of Brew and his split, he's kind of absorbed those ganks for the rest of his team, and that's in turn created a little bit of space for these cores to make some plays happen.
In a way, I mean, he did somehow keep that tower at like half HP.
Yeah.
Oh my god, well, Zai has been insane this game.
Another double split Earth. And just as I praise Chalice, he gets picked again, but
I mean,
still.
You have to use the ultimate eventually.
Yes, I will agree with that one. I will concede. Ame, no ultimate for another 15. Here comes the zip from CCNC, silence onto Ame, but there's a root onto 33, and that's going to break up this fight. A lot of reinforcements coming from Optic. Trying to figure out the right angle to try and initiate this, but maybe not going to force the issue. Naga Siren's ult is still on cooldown. She's going for the Meteor Hammer. No big surprise there.
So one thing that they've done a lot is that when Chalice has a bad game, or if he's given a hero, like sometimes they give him a sacrificial hero. If they give him a Bat Rider, sometimes it kind of feels this way. And the best way that it works is when they have it with the Naga Siren. Because what you'll see is that he's going to blink in and lasso, or in this case, he's going to blink in and split. And let's say he doesn't get the split off. What happens? The entirety of the Dire Side collapses on top of him to try and kill him off instantly before he can split, right? This happens all the time when he plays Bat Rider. But then FY's always there with his Naga Siren. He's so good at getting the timing on the song, and he catches those heroes clumping on top of the Brewmaster or the Bat Rider or whatever the hell Chalice is playing, and then he Meteor Hammers them, and they just win the fight. So they do have to watch out for that. I know he's been a little bit of a target dummy this game, but he literally can do that and kind of turn the game for his team. It's been a little bit of an LGD classic, so they have to make sure they don't get mega clumped. I mean, they saw what happened to PGJ Thunder last game. The clumping occurs, so hopefully Optic kind of have that in mind here.
Yeah, that is a fair point as well. PSG did finish their first series way ahead of that 3-game series that we went. They 2-0'd Infamous relatively quickly. So they had a lot of time to watch that last series, get a feel for what Optic were doing, maybe some of their weaknesses, and yeah, they should definitely be well aware of how much of a struggle that last series was. But here we go, long-range zip from CCNC. But Moonlight Shadow breaks things up. I don't think they have any detection here. Also, Aetherlens up on Zai. 18 minutes, Aetherlens, drums on this Lesh.
The core Lesh.
He's a support. Well, he was a support. Uh-oh, CCNC's out of mana. I think he messed up there as he jumps into the enemy team and will kind of zip to his death as he runs out of mana. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they might have just been smoked up.
Yeah.
They had some deeper vision in there, so not aware they were there.
Yeah, either way, a little bit unfortunate. And now this will probably be the Tier 1 tower mid in the grave for 30 seconds. The glyph comes out. The pressure is real. Void also now with a Mask of Madness and a Maelstrom inbound. Still needs that Mithril Hammer, but I mean, double Maelstrom coming out for PSG.
And he's got that Javelin already with the Maul too, so pretty nice value pickup just ahead with your Mask.
Absolutely.
Gives him a little bit of a solo kill threat. Maybe not necessarily on Pycat, just he actually bought the Treads, isn't just the bootless Weaver, so he's relatively tanky for his hero.
And now going for the Diffusal on the Weaver. He has picked up the Mana Break Talent at level 10. Very common. Stacking the Mana Breaks does give Weaver this huge bump of damage now at this stage of the game.
And if you look at Brewmaster, he only has like 400 mana because he has no items in terms of stats and everything too. So there's a
Brown
real
Boots,
chance
Blink
that
Dagger, zero stats.
He might just like end up losing all of his mana through a stun or something. So
certainly possible. Now he picks up the Tread, so that'll help. And he does have the Wand. Can't forget about that. A couple of stats and some good mana regen there. BKB going to be queued up for the Weaver. Pycat just wants to live in these fights now that he's picked up a damage item. Skipping the Lincolns. He did pick up that Ring of Health to get a little bit of regen, but seems Lincolns is not on the docket, at least not for now.
Yeah, just a bit too strong in the lane to really want to pass over there, but...
and it's not a bad Lincolns game, but...
There's a Chrono, so it just feels a little You know, you get Chrono, Arrowed, and Starstormed, and you're like, man, why'd I buy Lincolns?
Yeah, that's true. At least if you BKB and get Chronoed, you can still survive through some of that Magic Burst, maybe. Not guaranteed, but gives you some options. Pycat on the hunt, finds Somnus. Radiant Courier as well, not going to be picked. They use the immunity.
Now, he saw the angle on that Courier, so he knows there's more than one hero there. Yeah. And in fact, it's the entirety of the Radiant side.
And sort of the same thing happening from Optic. Their entire squad in enemy territory. Double damage rune down bottom that CC&C might be able to snag
Look
here
at
after
Pycat, he
grabbing the
just
fountain.
back towards the tower. That's a nice move.
Yeah, definitely something Weaver can get away with. Here's the fight, though. PPD, the one initiated on. Cast not going to find any bounces. Naga silenced, but Peter Pan Dan brought down. Now on the backside, Chronosphere catches CC. Will there be enough follow-up, though? The arrow is there. The Split Earth, not enough to keep him alive. Song of the Siren looking for more, and they'll find Pycat. Meteor Hammer, they mistimed that one. It's a little bit unfortunate, but the cast, it connects on two. Time lapse still comes out. X-Nova getting low, but it looks like Night Stalker is going to get locked down. Ame and X-Nova have been killed. Optic are actually turning this. Zai with plenty of damage. Chalice gets destroyed, and this support turned core Lesh secures them a team fight 2 for 4. After losing their Storm inside the Chrono. It's actually 2 for 3.
FY had the Bassi. He had the 3 toggle into the Meteor Hammer, and he didn't hit it. I think he must have messed up on the cancel or something.
Yeah, just mistimed it there. Really unfortunate. If he does hit that, I think the Weaver dies 100%.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be a guaranteed. I mean, that's a little bit unfortunate there. But she happens.
Definitely looked good seeing that Storm Spirit get locked down with a follow-up arrow.
Yeah, that fight looked amazing. I thought LGD just like brought this game fully back.
Well, that is one thing that PSG have done well. It seems like Somnus and Ame are really on the same page. Like, I'm doing the Chrono, have your arrow ready. Pretty impressive given how scattered that fight was. It was a great catch with the Chrono, and maybe was in a good position to connect with the arrow right away.
Yeah, and that's what put the pressure on that Meteor Hammer in the first place, is that because they have so little stuns. I mean, this was kind of a free Storm game when they picked it, because then there was a Chronosphere, but they need that arrow with the song if they want the additional kill onto the Weaver, which would end up making that difficult. But next time I'm sure FY will be a little bit more diligent there with the Bassi plus Meteor Hammer combo.
Spirit Vessel up on 33. Solar Crest queued up next. Back to farming we go. It is still a net worth lead for Optic. Relatively small, holding at about 2K.
Yeah, it's CC&C time now, though. He needs to kind of group up here with his Night Stalkers.
That's the Orchid.
There's only a minute left, though, so... he's almost level 12, though, so he'll have the Darkness going here again with the 120-second cooldown, and they can try and get a couple kills going. He's gone deep up top. Void.
In some trouble. Is this Orchid going to be enough? Absolutely. Soulburn pops him. Ame takes another tumble into the grave. It's a great reveal of the Orchid. It's your high priority target.
3-3 is chasing deeper there. Dust won't connect on anyone.
Moonlight Shadow. At a PSG.
Yeah, I'm just but, yeah, back they go. And maybe continues to top the chart here, but in the end, he is a Mirana. It just doesn't feel like, it doesn't have that same oomph that you get out of a lot of these heroes. I feel like, every game we've got these Gyros, these Lunas, these PLs, and they're sitting there at 11K right now. You're just like, ugh. oh my god, what do we do against this guy? But as a Mirana, it's you're like, okay.
I would generally agree. She can scale pretty well, but that's when she's at like 5th slot, 6th slot type items, and pretty much every hero feels scary at that stage of the game. He did go for BKB. I think definitely the smart choice instead of going all for just raw damage. I mean, you need to survive against this Leshrac. The amount of pressure that Zai's been putting on is definitely going to force LGD into BKBs. If they were at all on the fence about getting the Magic immunity, I think now it is secured. Brewmaster has his queued up, already picked up the Ogre Club, Void following suit. Pretty much the same build as the Mirana at this point. Maelstrom into BKB, though of course he did stop off for that Mask of Madness first.
Both teams. So much spam for vision in this game. I've seen Pycat just tossing out the bugs over like random cliffs trying to find people. You've got 3-3 just hopping up and over the cliffs as well during the nighttime. You've got the Naga Siren going to start spreading those illusions, trying to create the vision. Just trying to figure out what's going on while maybe Chuck's arrows. This time it's not for vision though, it's going to connect into the Roche Pit. But FY, he's doing his cute little plays. So he pretends to be the illusions. He always likes to group up with one other illusion, and it's worked a couple times. Of course, you got to see some pretty popular clips. Mind you, the most popular clip, they end up losing that fight. But they don't tell you that in the clip. But
still, it works out. And great positioning with him ready to counter-initiate the song in case they do jump into Roche, but completely uncontested. PSG.LGD get themselves an Aegis and a little bit of bonus gold to boot. Aegis the Immortal, no surprise to see it in the hands of the Faceless Void.
Don't really want him to go down just from the Orchid again here before his BKB.
And Eon Disc on the Lesh. So if they were having trouble killing Zai before, that much harder. Moonlight Shadow. Oh, Dire Sentries. Uh-oh. Maybe Zai can turn this here. He goes in onto the Naga Siren.
A lot of heroes to turn.
He's got some friends nearby, though. Remember, he has the Eon Disc. He forces out the Brew Split as well.
He ran away from his team.
This is Zai versus the world, but it isolates Ame. It brings the other 4, and they get the Aegis for Zai.
Okay. Nicely done.
I don't know if it's the ideal trade, but now Chrono's up. Void looking for something. 33 might be the target of choice. Again, they're going to do this split where he goes one way, the rest of the team goes the other. The TP out. It's going to be close, and he makes it. That arrow actually looks sideways.
Sails on by.
Okay. I think Optic are pretty happy with that. I guess
yeah, that's not bad. They can't play that aggressive, and they have a tier 1 in the bottom lane. Whoa! Hello.
Hello, Ame. They're going to rinse and repeat.
Go? Where'd it go?
Yeah, Somnus now with the BKB. Pycat has one himself, but not going to use it quite yet. Song of the Siren resets the fight. And now the pursue onto FY. He will not be able to TP. He gets interrupted by that PPD stun, and it's still big stuff for Optic.
Man, they are looking great right now.
Definitely shaking off that last series and coming into this one with a fresh mindset. Still maintaining that 2K net worth lead we talked about 10 minutes ago, 26-16.
Now, mind you, reminiscent of that last game as well, there was a net worth lead starting to build for VG Thunder over and over, and then the question becomes, like, their lead is false because they cannot go high ground. I mean, an ancient proverb.
Yeah. Well, that's very true. They do have the Lesh, which helps a little bit with the high ground siege, but not ideal.
And it's not just their own team. Against this enemy team in a vacuum, you're dealing with Chronosphere, Song, Brew Split, even Cask is really irritating when you're trying to go high ground.
Even Starstorm, it's so good at clearing out creep waves.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
two
these
Maelstroms
rogue
on top of
arrows
that.
are basically a pudge. Like someone just gets arrowed and the fight is wrong.
Yeah.
It's like doesn't build up the way it's supposed to.
No, you're absolutely right. I was just going to say, even though this is looking really good for Optic and they've made a lot of plays happen, I still think PSG.LGD are hanging in there and they have a lot of options. You can never sleep on a team with a Faceless Void like this. Sure, he's not balling, he's not super far ahead.
He's recovered well, though.
He's hanging in there. He's got the core items, and once he gets that BKB, again, this game just gets a lot scarier. And I also wouldn't sleep on Maybe. I totally understand your point about Mirana not being the scariest carry, but her damage output is nothing to scoff at, especially when she's 3K up on the highest farmer of Optic.
And if she gets that leap in and she has the BKB going, if people are stunned, she can wail on them, for sure. But that's going to require these multi-man Chronos. And so far, we haven't got them.
Not yet.
But if he finds one, yes, he will obliterate them. I will not argue with that.
Just wait until Storm and Weaver get caught in the same chrono. That's the thing. It's like Optic can win this game, but they have to play almost perfectly. And for PSG, they just need to catch Optic when they mess up like once or twice.
I know that story.
You know?
There was this Darkseer, there's a vacuum,
you know,
I saw something.
All too well how that goes down. But it's The threat is real, and unless Optic are, 10, 15K net worth ahead, that threat from LGD just never goes away.
Yeah, it just kind of lurks there. And
it's the same thing with Chalice. Like, he's been getting pooped on in a lot of these fights. Once he has BKB, the pooping will go the other way.
Well said. I mean, really articulate. Excellent wordsmithing right there.
I tried.
Wow.
Now
Such
a
a poet.
smoke up.
CCNC's down bottom right now. In terms of Radiant Vision, they haven't spawned. Show on the wave right now. They'll be like, oh, Storm's bot. We saw Weaver top. Let's go. Now CCNC. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh goodness.
Oh my. That really hurts.
That's not
You're
fun.
just TPing out, you're ready to farm your jungle, and oh my, there's an entire enemy team ready and waiting. Well, that'll happen occasionally, I suppose.
I mean, I just gotta say credit to not even using the chrono. That was like, they just went with the arrow and he got the timing right on a random shrine TP. Like that takes some guts.
Do not underestimate Somnus.
No, never again.
MKB gonna be the way for
Courier
Mirana.
in the back line there, but Pycap
Almost sniped.
scouted.
He's got the chrono. He would really like to find that Weaver if he can. Not quite. Pycat just slips away. Still the 10-second BKB available for Pycat. Hasn't been forced to use it yet.
Yeah.
He's going to use the chrono. Here he does, but the BKB gets popped. Do they have the damage? And they do. The death ward is there. It's plenty of physical, and there's the 10-second charge. I wouldn't call it wasted. It was the right idea for Pycat to use it, but ends up not seeing it.
And they will find Peter.
Be a TP interrupt. So, just like that, it's a 3-0. And LGD really biting into that net worth lead that OG had secured for so much of this match.
We saw it there, though. Even through the BKB, though, the ridiculous 220 attack speed bonus. Yeah, that's a lot of damage, no doubt.
Yeah, this MKB is going to be big on the Mirana, though. That's going to be the transition trend from, okay, I'm pretty damage focused to, wow, she really hurts. And he had a Lincoln's queued up, and I'm glad he switched it to a more damage-based item. Now Song of the Siren sets up on a 33. Great body block, so he can't sidestep it. Here's all the follow-up damage, and it's another pick in favor of LGD.
And he still goes as far as that camp. A bold man, but no Chronosphere, I suppose, so he's feeling all right. And that's level 20 for Mirana, and she goes for the Spell Lamp.
Interesting.
It's tempting either way, just because like you attack so fast. You think that mana break really adds a lot of value, but he's also spec'd completely into the Mjolnir, so he's just kind of going that route for 12%. That's gonna help him farm a lot faster. Bottom lane, they actually catch 3-3 there. Sorry, Ame. Apologies.
Yeah, BKB from CCNC debuted. There is still the Brew split, and he might be able to make it a 1-for-1. He does. Not the ideal trade that Optic were hoping for. Now Pycat on the run, getting chased around by all these Brew splits. Down comes the Sentry. Arrow almost connects, but forces the BKB out of Pycat. PPD now gets killed. Pycat with a time lapse, still some charges. Zai joining the party. Pretty good damage. They might get this kill on the Witch Doctor, but where else is it going to go? Now BKB popped by Somnus. He was disarmed there. There's the time lapse on the Weaver. Pycat gets picked back up.
Now it's daytime too, though. They have to force
flipped by the arrow. It's going to be a dead Weaver. Beyond godlike for maybe on this Priestess of the Moon. Now the Exodus gets thwarted by that ensnare. Zai left behind and out of resources. Optic tossing this lead away, and now it's LGD in control.
That just feels like such a greedy play to attempt that fight without your Storm Spirit.
Yep. Like really did.
He's so clutch here. And it just doesn't feel like Pycat quite has the damage yet. Obviously built very defensive, the BKB. Yes, you get the mana break, but you're going to a Lincoln's next. I guess they just feel like they have to grab at anything they can.
Trent, I'm still just so impressed at how well Chalice recovered this game. He's got the BKB blink, and he's working on a Radiance. He's 2,000 gold towards it.
Yeah, this is kind of their little bit of an MO. Like, everything that he sacrificed, a lot of it then just gets kind of like funneled into FY. Like, sure, Chalice is dying, but then FY tends to, like, take up these lanes and all of these waves, and he gets these aura items. He's a support that's tied with his offlaner, essentially, in net worth.
You're right. The Naga Siren moving into Lotus Orb up next. Pretty solid kit there.
Try and help out his Faceless Void when he doesn't have his BKB ready. And we are waiting on the Roche here. Looks like it's going to be a 2-minute respawn. Jamming up. Important for CCNC.
I don't think we mentioned it when it was picked up that we did see in that last fight. 33 does have the Halberd, so disarm, very useful against the Mirana, also great against the Void. He did have a Solar Crest queued up, but decided to call the audible and switch over to the Halberd. I think it was definitely the right call.
Yeah, a lot of magic damage from the Radiant side, especially just the Mirana's. Like, she right-clicks a lot, but it's mostly magic-based.
And, oh, so Mirana did actually go back for the Lincolns. Interesting. So she had the Lincolns queued up, then switched to the MKB, and then actually bought the Lincolns, and now wants the MKB again. So a little bit of indecision, but going for the stats first, and now going back for damage.
Yeah, I don't think damage is currently an issue for her.
That's a fair point, yeah.
It looks pretty good.
Well, and also now with the disarm, he's like, okay, I need some way to deal with this Night Stalker at least a little bit, make him think twice. He can't just walk up and instantly disarm me.
Yeah.
Gives me that opportunity to maybe leap away.
Man, Chalice all the way up to level 20 now at this point. I think he's ahead of Ame.
Both teams kind of clumped up in the mid lane here. All 5 of Optic nearby. LGD a little more split. Maybe was up top trying to split push. Now the Moonlight Shadow gets used. PPD caught by an ensnare.
He has a
PSG on the way in. They will dust it. BKB gets used by Chalice. There's just no follow-up from the rest of the Radiant. Brew split comes, the boulder toss, and PPD looks like he'll get brought down here.
Yeah, I think you sack Peter, see if they go Roche, and then buy back if they do. Of course, to our knowledge, Roche isn't even up yet, but they don't know. Could have spawned already, so currently dire vision, they don't really see anything. They see no one has reached back here to this board, and now they spot Ame. So they're like, okay, they're not rushing. Everything's fine. Relax. It's going to be okay.
Very hard for Optic to control the lane hit, though. There's the buyback. They are going to catch a jump onto the Brewmaster without the split or the BKB. They know he's a pretty easy target,
and
they will bring him down.
Timing.
That's so perfect. They know exactly when he's up. But FY does still have a Song of the Siren. Not a free fight for Optic yet. Song sets it up. Zai just wasting all that mana. Arrow does connect on the Ogre. They turn it off just in time. Zai gets brought down first. Nothing PPD can do. There will be the buyback now coming out of the left.
Goes in, he gets chrono.
It's a perfect chrono from Ame. That's all they needed. Buyback, though, from the Weaver. Not going to time lapse back in. Instead, it's 33 hit by the Meteor Hammer, and he will be brought down. Now, he'll burn the buyback. They really want to contest this Roche, and with the chrono down, they feel like there could be an opening to do it, but this is so costly from Optic. That's 4 buybacks used now.
They are gasping, like completely just like grasping at anything that's left.
I think they're grasping and gasping, Trent.
I think so.
This is so brutal. So much economic damage done to Optic, and now Pycat forced the BKB, but the ensnare goes right through it. He will time lapse, but his main spell is used very defensively. I don't know if Optic are going to get what they want out of these buybacks. Certainly not going to be able to secure Roche off that and feel confident about it. They also just have no ability to kill Roche. This Dire squad has no minus armor and very limited damage.
You got the bugs.
Oh, okay,
Bugs are pretty good.
Strong. Bugs are okay.
Yeah, tank it up a little bit, you know.
But, I mean...
It's not incredible, sure. LGD, they're going to shred it.
I wouldn't say bugs are my #1 resource in taking down Roche. Let's put it that way. But it's a fair point. They are going to go in for it. This feels so risky, Trent.
They definitely do not have a choice after all those buybacks. There's no Chronosphere yet. Song is up, however, and FY's doing his cheeky plays. Are they illusions or are they real? Oh, it's real. Surprise. All right, let's see the toggles here.
Arrow on the way. Instead, they just hit the arrow. Ame pops the BKB. They bring down the Weaver. It's a dieback now for Pycat. Roche still standing with plenty of HP. CCNC pops the BKB, but Snare locks him down. He falls next. 2 cores down on the side of Optic. They split their ways. Zai getting chased down to the left. And on the right, it's a blue split trying to chase down PPD. Looks like they'll both fall most likely. Xnova stands his ground, uses the stick charges, and it does keep him alive. 4 dead on the side of Optic after that beautiful setup from the Song of the Siren. Ame silenced against 33. He is all alone. Is he actually going to die to the solo Night Stalker? Wow. He will.
Yeah, he knows his limits really well on the show.
Big kill, but that does not stop the Roche from PSG. So they get Aegis Cheese. And talking about economic damage, 15K net worth is the favor for our Radiant squad.
I think FY forgot about Meteor Hammer.
Why didn't he use it
Well, I know. You can still BKB before, even if it's like the perfect kind of Meteor Hammer. So I think he thought the BKB was probably back up for Pycat, but it wasn't at the time.
Ah, okay.
But the one was there from CCNC. So theoretically, it would have been useless had they both BKB'd. And
Fair.
So since he is so many levels ahead of us, that's why he didn't do it.
Gotcha.
I'm just
that makes sense now. Gotcha. So
And
3
here it
heroes
comes.
down.
Give them the camera F1.
This is the big push.
Get on that
No
tower.
buybacks available on Lesh or Weaver. Storm does have one, but obviously holding it for now. Not much he can do by himself. With Void dead, still no options. Meteor Hammer burning it down. Burn, baby, burn. Is the mid lane of Barracks fall on the backside. 33 maybe looking for a backstab.
She's a barn burner.
Needs to be a little careful here. FY, pump fakes. And now, the escape. Sentry Ward comes down to counteract the
Split is
Moonlight
back up
Shadow.
right now.
CCNC needs to be careful here. The split could be devastating. Song of the Siren is also back trend. It's level 3, and this could be the reset that they were waiting for. Weaver comes back down, pops the BKB, but they've got the ensnare. There is a time lapse. Pycat can be able to live, but the BKB is off. They'll continue to pursue, and there's the Song of the Siren. FY.
All right, there it is.
Until the perfect time.
There's the toggles. Right on point.
See you later, Pycat. He's going to be dead, as well as PPD. Now the BKB from CCNC. Again, FY with the perfect times on these ensnares. GG is called after a triple kill for Somnus. A brutal game for Optic Gaming. Ultra kill.
Tips tossed all around.
Well,
Chat wheels used.
it was definitely an okay game for Optic at the beginning there, right? Like, they were hanging on to that game for a while. It wasn't a complete slaughter, but LGD hung in there, and I still think that Brewmaster absorbing so many of those early kills was actually a good thing for PSG. He was their one hero that really could recover despite dying so many times in the lane.
Yeah, it's true. And you saw the idea, though, of the Optic draft, right? These, like, diving to the towers, creating all the space with the use of the Weaver and everything. It looks good, but not as celebratory as our previous match. No clapping was had this day.
Looking at the damage breakdown of PSG, 34K on Maybe's Priestess of the Moon. The next highest on their team was 17K on Chalice. That just speaks to how much that Potom did that game.
They're putting faith in this hero, man. That was picked relatively early into the draft, but it had that combination there with the Naga Siren. It's not quite the Bane Mirana, but it's an old classic in its own right.
18-2 and 15. Maybe, a.k.a. Somnus, absolutely my MVP that game, no doubt.
I got to give it to him. I wanted to doubt the hero, but I just couldn't.
Well, with that, folks, we're going to hand it back over to our panel to see what they thought of Game 1, LGD versus Optic.
Thank you. Yes, a lot to talk about, even though the result may be not unsurprising that LGD took this one, but it was a pretty close game, closer than we were expecting anyway. So where to start? Do you want to start with the maybe Mirana dominating in lane, Haas?
I think I'm going to start with, right now, I think Peter is still kicking himself for 6-banning Drow Ranger.
Yeah.
Because that was a heck of a Faceless Void game. There is no other hero in the pool, I think, that threatens both the Storm Spirit and the Weaver to nearly that extent. Obviously, the Mirana was a huge story in this game. Again, Chalice, though, doing a lot with a little, dying a lot in the early game and still coming back and contributing something that he does so well.
Charles kind of fed, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't think some of those deaths were just like, well, this Weaver's getting out of control.
I don't know.
Our commentator said that it was a good thing, though. You know, he's basically the.
I mean, it's never a good
I don't
thing.
know about that.
This was a really big. I thought Pycat was dead there for sure, and the game was going to be over.
Yeah, but FY missed the Meteor Hammer combo.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he messed something up with the toggles because he didn't cancel sleep at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he must have like misclicked the button, or it's actually not as easy as it sounds. The
Oh
toggling.
yeah. You know, it used to be a lot easier before people figured out that you could blink out of it, and then the timing got a lot tighter.
When I tried it in practice lobby, I needed like
But-
about an hour to get it perfect.
Look at the net worth here. This is less than a 1K net worth lead for Optic at 32 minutes. It goes to an 18K net worth lead at 39 minutes.
But that's just because the lineup is so inferior, right?
Yeah, you have the Weaver pick felt very underwhelming.
Yeah.
It didn't feel awful, but it definitely didn't look great by any means. It was really hard to understand what they picked the Weaver for this
Like
game.
honestly, in the team fights, what did he do? He chased down a Witch Doctor, and then he ran away. Every fight. Because he's so scared of the Mirana as well as the Faceless Void. He really couldn't contribute much.
Yeah, you've got Weaver Storm. There's just no team fight whatsoever, and just was not. It was a good hero for like fighting, creating space early on. It really punished Chalice in the lane. Even though he's got the evasion, the Beetle actually looks pretty good against him there, but wasn't enough.
Yeah,
Sizeless Shrek, though, looked very good.
And it is very good. That's,
he was like
just how he plays the hero.
He was like their core, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
really was.
I mean, his farm was outstanding. But again, that's just like 33, I think, has patterned a lot of his game off of Chalice in terms of the way that he is able to do so much with so few resources and recognize a situation where, wait a minute, I can give my 4th position player this farm and he's going to use it more effectively than I can.
It's actually not only the farm, it's also the items he went. He went
Yes.
the Spirit Vessel, all the support items, whereas Zai, like, itemized as like a carry. Or like rather core Lesher.
I completely agree. I love the 3 and 4 position duos that play as one.
And you know, this arrow was not even spot on, but the BKB was on cooldown.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he had no chance to BKB.
They get the ensnare on a BKB storm to kill him. The Mirana just doing insane amounts of damage.
Did you see that the attack speed after the leap? It was insane.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, I don't know. The difference on paper is only 100 versus 120 attack speed from level 4 leap, but it sure looked like at a couple points in this game that it's bigger than that.
It's also because of the talent. A lot of people don't really...
Oh, that's
like,
true. That's
it's
true.
a plus 100, I believe, right? So it's like 240 now? Or 220?
So
That is
yeah,
insane.
the leap level 4 boss with the talent is pretty much the same as the old leap. It's those early points, because he actually solo kills the storm at level 3 here.
Yeah.
That level 1 leap is just so much more value.
Yeah, you have 3 charges, you can just like jump
No, but
twice if you want to.
even as I'm watching this, right, I go back to the draft and I say, the reason for the Weaver pick is that is like, okay, other than Song, do they really have another setup for the arrow? So they can't kill both these cores, but then boom, Void. And all of a sudden they have 2 great setups for the arrows.
I mean, for me, if you pick Weaver in a draft, right, you want to have it against like a Life Stealer, a Bad Rider.
Yeah,
he
you want the
can't
favorable
deal with
lane.
him at all,
Yeah.
exactly. But this game, it was just rough for him. Even if he gets really big, he can't contribute as much.
I mean, it looked scary though, because at least in the early game, the Weaver had a fine time and the Void was just getting crapped on. Like the side lanes were going so badly, and ordinarily in this meta, if you get crushed in both side lanes, oh god.
It's just for me, it's one of those matchups. Void, even if you have 1 or 2 items behind, you can own a Weaver very easily.
Well, I think it really speaks to the draft is that Optic did win those 2 side lanes, but ultimately couldn't win the game because their draft just couldn't really do it.
And also the game closer was a mid lane who actually lost the lane. So it was also another problem they've had.
He kind of lost
that's
his
a
lane,
good
but he did at least come back in the game on the storm.
Yeah,
but
but
he then went on to die several
Yeah,
times.
that's because maybe he had to leave the lane to make space for the other lanes because they were losing both side lanes as well.
Is Storm supposed to do that bad against the Mirana in lane? Because it was a very rough lane.
It's tough. There's kill potential from the Mirana. It's also, if you haven't played against this Mirana mid in a while, it's now even stronger than it used to be.
True, yeah.
He gets caught by surprise because Mirana has this 2-0-1 build, no points in arrow. You can't reliably hit arrow, so he goes for this build with guaranteed damage output. Leap in, double Starstorm, leap again to chase, easy kills.
Done.
Yep.
That's a kill.
But I don't think LGD looked amazing, even though they won that game.
Very sloppy.
Ame played really badly. I think Chalice in the first half of the game was very poor. The supports did. FY played very well.
I think for me, the game is on FY and maybe they carried them hard.
Absolutely. Those 2 players did absolutely everything that game for them. Witch Doctor didn't play badly, but there was only so much he could do.
Yeah, I mean, the Weaver just chased him down every fight. He just got picked off first every fight there, so he couldn't do anything.
All right, well, luckily, best of 3. Optic has a chance to do it again, or still to do it at least 1 time perhaps. We'll see if they can tie the score 1-1. We're going to take a short break. When we're back, it is the continuation of the upper bracket finals of Group D.